Welcome back to another video, man. Before we do say anything else, all praise to the Most High. Today we have How High, 15 weird facts you didn't know about How High. Y'all like How High? Y'all ever watched it? Who your favorite character? Put in the comments. Let's get right into it.
I need something to help me out.
Yeah, rehab, mouthwash, and a job application. Jeez.
How High didn't follow the formula. It broke the mold. The director's father is a legend. The producers made Pulp Fiction. The stars got too high to function, and someone had to say something. These are 15 weird facts about How High. And the bonus? Let's just say the sequel happened, but meth and red weren't in it. Like that, smoke that, pass that. Let's go. Number 1. The director is Bob Dylan's son, and this was his first movie. How High was directed by Jesse Dylan. Yes, that Dylan. Jesse Byron Dylan was born January 6, 1966, the eldest son of legendary musician Bob Dylan and his first wife, Sarah Lones. His younger brother Jacob would go on to front the rock band The Wallflowers, but Jesse chose a different path. He went to film school at NYU and started directing music videos. Before How High, Dylan had built a solid resume behind the camera. He shot videos for Tom Waits, Elvis Costello, Tom Petty, Lita Ford, and Lenny Kravitz. He even provided the cover photo for Tom Waits' 1992 album, Bone Machine. But How High was his feature film debut, his first time in the big chair on a studio picture. And what did he choose? A stoner comedy about two rappers who smoke their dead friends' ashes and get into Harvard. The gamble paid off. Dylan went on to direct American Wedding in 2003, the third American Pie movie, and Kicking and Screaming in 2005, with Will Ferrell and Robert Duvall. He also produced the gang documentary Crips and Bloods Made in America for Sundance in 2008. But it all started here. Bob Dylan's son making a weed movie with Method Man and Redman. Hollywood is weird. Number 2. They shot Harvard at UCLA, and students kept trying to smoke them out.
Well, look who we have here.
The film is set at Harvard University, but they didn't shoot a single frame in Cambridge. All the Harvard scenes were filmed at UCLA during spring quarter 2001. Most of the campus footage was shot around Dixon Plaza, and the moment Method Man and Redman showed up, chaos followed. Students swarmed the set constantly. They wanted autographs, they wanted photos, and more than anything, they wanted to smoke with two of hip-hop's most famous weed enthusiasts. Redman didn't sugarcoat it in an interview with the Daily Bruin. They wanted to smoke and they wanted autographs, he said. I wouldn't mind UCLA. UCLA is higher learning. They also got a lot of hoes up there, man. Method Man agreed the students were awesome, but he also admitted that staying sober while filming was nearly impossible with so many fans trying to get them high between takes. His most memorable moment on campus? Trying to do a backflip on the grass in Dixon Plaza and landing on his neck. That's filmmaking. Number 3.
I did that on trampoline.
Smoked real weed on set until the producers shut it down.
Yeah, I tried to do my first backflip on a trampoline at like 16 years old. It did not go as planned. My homeboy that was with me. Usually when you do a backflip, you got somebody to actually help you flip. Yeah, I ain't had no help. I just tried it and was like, fuck, I'm on the trampoline, why not? So I did that, and next thing I know, my feet was in the air, and I was looking at the sky, and I almost ended up in the hospital. Yeah. The dude that was with me sat there talking about some. I mean, you almost had it. You did the back, you just ain't do the flip. Man, get your goof ass away. Man, you know what? Alright.
This wasn't acting, at least not at first. Method Man confirmed years later that he and Redman were smoking real marijuana during filming, for authenticity, of course. The problem? It showed. We were spot on in the morning, Method Man admitted on the Kitchen Talk podcast. But after lunch, you come back something different. Producer Stacy Scher eventually pulled him aside for a reality check. Her message was subtle but clear. You know, after this, I'm still gonna be a producer, she told him. My face isn't on the screen. I'm gonna get my credit. Translation, your weed smoking is affecting your performance, and I'm the one who has to fix it in editing. Method Man got the message. The real smoking stopped, or at least slowed down, but the damage to a few morning after lunch takes had already been done. Number 4, Danny DeVito produced it, the same guy behind Pulp Fiction. How High was produced by Jersey Films, the production company founded by Danny DeVito. That's the same Jersey Films that produced Pulp Fiction in 1994, the same company behind Get Shorty, Gattaca, Out of Sight, Man on the Moon, and Erin Brockovich, which earned DeVito an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. Stacey Sher and Michael Shannon.
Hey, he the dude that was in what's that movie with Martin Lawrence? Where he lost the ring. Hold on, bro. Cause every time I see him, he remind me of the Penguin. What's the movie with Martin Lawrence in it? Dang, y'all put in the comments. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Produced alongside DeVito. These were serious Hollywood players with serious credentials, and yet they greenlit a movie about two guys who grow marijuana using their dead friend's ashes, get perfect SAT scores thanks to his ghost, and end up at Harvard where they dig up John Quincy Adams and try to smoke his finger. The same company that gave Quentin Tarantino his breakthrough gave Method Man and Redman theirs. That's range. Number 5. The Biggie and Tupac bathroom scene is a nod to Method Man's real hip-hop history.
Biggie and Pac, man, they throwing a party, man. Open all night, man.
There's a moment in How High that only real hip-hop heads caught. In the bathroom scene, Ivory's ghost tells Silas that he's been partying with the notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur in the afterlife. It's a throwaway joke. Two dead legends getting high together in heaven. Funny line, move on. But for Method Man, the reference runs deeper. Method Man is the only rapper who appeared on both Biggie's and Tupac's final studio albums released during their lifetimes. He featured on The What from Biggie's Ready to Die in 1994, and he was the only guest on the entire album. Then, in 1996, he appeared alongside Redman on Got My Mind Made Up from Tupac's All Eyes on Me. Both legends were dead within 2 years of those albums dropping. Biggie in March 1997, Tupac in September 1996. So when Ivory mentions kicking it with Biggie and Pac, he's talking to the one rapper who actually worked with both of them before they died. The scene plays like a joke, but it's also a quiet tribute from Method Man to two friends he lost to the streets. Number 6, Mike Epps based Baby Powder on a real pimp from Milwaukee.
If you pimp, you broke pimp. You know you fucked up, Woody, don't you?
Come on with it.
Baby Powder.
Baby Powder is one of the most memorable characters in the film, a third-generation pimp who somehow ends up at Harvard looking for his employees. Mike Epps plays him with complete commitment, and for good reason. The character was based on someone real. On the Drink Champs podcast, Epps broke down the inspiration. Baby Powder's signature move was putting talcum powder on his hands before slapping people in the face. But the real guy, he used cocaine instead of talcum powder. He was from Milwaukee, and Epps knew him personally. That's the kind of detail you can't write in a Hollywood office.
Slap.
You have to live it. Epps had already made a name for himself playing Day Day in Next Friday alongside Ice Cube, but Baby Powder showed a different gear. Absurdist, over the top, and somehow grounded in reality. When How High 2 finally happened in 2019, Epps was the only original cast member to return. Method Man and Redman walked away, but Baby Powder came back. That character had legs and apparently a family tree of pimps stretching back generations. Number 7. Cypress Hill appears as themselves performing at a Harvard party. You can't make a stoner movie in 2001 without Cypress Hill. The iconic hip-hop group appears in the film playing themselves at a campus party. Be Real, Sendog, and DJ Muggs show up to perform, while Silas and Jamal's Harvard experiment reaches full chaos. It wasn't just a cameo.
Cypress Hill's music is woven throughout the film.
Their classic track, Hits from the Bong, plays during the opening. They also recorded a new version of Cisco Kid for the soundtrack, featuring Method Man and Redman. The connection made sense. Cypress Hill had been advocating for cannabis legalization since their debut in 1991. They were hip-hop's original weed ambassadors. Having them bless the film was like getting a papal endorsement for a stoner comedy. In 2019, Cypress Hill became the first hip-hop group to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Back in 2001, they were just showing up at a fake Harvard party to rock the mic while two guys tried not to flunk out. Number 8. Tracy Morgan has an uncredited cameo.
Females is some chronic, and then we all gonna be coming.
Blink and you'll miss him. Tracy Morgan appears in How High as Field of Dreams guy, and he's completely uncredited. No billing, no fanfare, just Tracy showing up for a quick scene and disappearing. At the time, Morgan was in the middle of his 7-year run on Saturday Night Live. He joined the cast in 1996 and wouldn't leave until 2003. The same year How High came out, he also appeared in Jay and Silent Bob's Strike Back. Morgan was building his resume one cameo at a time. A few years later, he'd land the role of Tracy Jordan on 30 Rock, a character partially based on himself, and become one of the most recognizable comedians in the country. But in 2001, he was just another funny guy doing a quick bit in a weed movie. No credit, no trailer, just work. Number 9. UFC legend Chuck Liddell has a blink and you'll miss it cameo. Tracy Morgan wasn't the only future star hiding in the background. Chuck Liddell, who would become one of the most famous fighters in UFC history, appears briefly at a party scene. He's credited simply as Tough Guy. No lines, no fight choreography, just presence. In 2001, Liddell was still building his MMA career. He wouldn't become UFC light heavyweight champion until 2005, but he was already intimidating enough to play muscle at a college party. Liddell's mohawk and knockout power would eventually make him a mainstream crossover star. He'd appear on Dancing with the Stars, Entourage, and countless talk shows. He became
Chuck
the face
Liddell
of
was
UFC
on Dancing with the
exploding into
Stars.
the mainstream. But before all that, he was an uncredited tough guy standing in the background of a Method Man and Redman comedy. Everyone starts somewhere. Number 10. The How High song came out 6 years before the movie. The movie didn't create the brand, the song did. Method Man and Redman's track, How High, was released in August 1995, a full 6 years before the film hit theaters. It appeared on the soundtrack for The Show, a hip-hop documentary featuring interviews and performances from some of the biggest names in rap. The song was produced by Eric Sermon and marked the first official collaboration between Method Man and Redman as a duo. It reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was eventually certified gold by the RIAA. That song established their chemistry. Two East Coast heavyweights, one from Wu-Tang Clan, one from Def Squad, trading verses about getting high and staying sharp. It worked so well, they built an entire partnership around it. In 1999, they released Blackout, their collaborative album, a remixed version of How High.
I need to go back and listen to that.
When the film finally came together, the song gave them a title, a concept, and a built-in audience. The film wasn't a cash grab. It was the logical conclusion of a partnership that started with a six. The film wasn't a
The man got a whole pacifier on his I ain't never ever noticed that in all my 7.5 times watching this movie. Why do you have a pacifier on? You know what, bro?
A cash grab. It was the logical conclusion of a partnership that started with a single track 6 years earlier. By the time cameras rolled, Method Man and Redman had already proven they could carry a project together. The movie was just the next step. Number 11. Lisa Turtle from Saved by the Bell plays the love interest. If Lauren looks familiar, there is a reason. Lark Voorhees, famous for playing Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell from 1989 to 1993, plays Silas's love interest. Lauren is a Harvard student who collects historical artifacts and ends up being the key to the film's Ben Franklin twist. Voorhees won 2 Young Artist Awards for her work on Saved by the Bell and was part of the original cast that carried over from Good Morning Miss Bliss. After the show ended, she appeared on Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, and In the House. She was also previously engaged to Martin Lawrence in 1993, though they called it off in 1994. By 2001, Voorhees was looking for film roles that showed her range beyond teen TV. How High gave her that chance. She holds her own opposite Method Man, playing the smart girl who sees past the stoner exterior. 20 years later, she returned to Bayside for the Saved by the Bell revival on Peacock. But in 2001, she was at Harvard, or at least UCLA, pretending to be Harvard, falling for a weed dealer with a ghost problem. Number 12. The film features one of Spalding Gray's final roles before his death. He's played by Spalding Gray, one of the most unique performers in American theater history. Gray was famous for his autobiographical monologues, Swimming to Cambodia in 1987 made him a cult figure. He sat at a desk and talked for 90 minutes about his experience filming the killing fields in Cambodia. No sets, no costumes, just a man telling a story. Steven Soderbergh later directed him in Grey's Anatomy. Jonathan Demme put him on screen multiple times. In Hollywood, Grey usually played doctors, lawyers, and intellectuals, uptight establishment figures who contrasted with his neurotic inner life. In How High, he's the professor watching Silas and Jamal turn Harvard upside down. It would be one of his last performances. In June 2001, Grey was severely injured in a car crash while on vacation in Ireland. The accident left him with a fractured skull and a broken hip. He struggled with depression and health issues in the aftermath. On January 11, 2004, Grey passed away. He was 62 years old. How High came out in December 2001, just months after his accident. Watching him play a befuddled Harvard professor opposite Method Man and Redman, you'd never know what he was going through. That's acting.
Number 13. The soundtrack featured DMX, Ludacris, and Mary J. Blige. The film underperformed at the box office. The soundtrack held its own. Released December 11, 2001 through Def Jam Recordings, the How High soundtrack peaked at number 38 on the Billboard 200 and number 6 on the top R&B/hip-hop albums chart. The track list was stacked. DMX contributed Party Up, Up in Here, already a massive hit. Ludacris brought What's Your Fantasy. Mary J. Blige, Cypress Hill, and Limp Bizkit all appeared. There was even a Rammstein needle drop. Du Hast plays during a scene where Method Man tries to wake up Redman. Rockwilder composed the original score, blending hip-hop production with the film's comedic tone. The soundtrack worked because it wasn't just filler. These were legitimate hits from artists.
No, I actually had an exact situation like this with my older brother. He would sleep, and basically this exact same.
DMX alone was one of the biggest rappers in the world in 2001. Having his track on the album gave How High credibility beyond
Weed smoking your face, wake up.
Number 14. The movie won a Stony Award for Best Stoner Movie. Critics hated it, stoners loved it. How High won the Stony Award for Best Stoner Movie in 2002. Entertainment Weekly ranked it number 3 on their Best Stoner Movie Top 10 list. The film found its audience, and that audience showed up. But the critical reception was brutal. Rotten Tomatoes shows a 25% approval rating from 59 reviews. The consensus called it a sloppily constructed stoner movie filled with lame, vulgar jokes. None of that mattered. How High became a cult classic anyway. It ran constantly on cable throughout the 2000s. It became a go-to movie for late-night viewing. Method Man and Redman's chemistry carried scenes that had no business working on paper. The Stony Award isn't an Oscar, but for a weed comedy, it's the only trophy that counts. Number 15. Al Sharer's character, I Need Money, never speaks a single word.
I need money.
Every comment
we know.
Silent weird.
He ain't never say
How High
shit.
found this. Al Sharer plays I Need Money, Jamal's friend from back home who follows him to Harvard. The character's name comes from how Jamal met him. The day they crossed paths, the guy wrote I Need Money on a slip of paper. The name stuck. Throughout the entire film, I Need Money doesn't speak, not one word. He just appears in scenes, reacts silently, and disappears. He's a presence without a voice. Then, at the very end, he finally talks. It's a small moment, but it lands. The payoff works because the setup lasted 90 minutes. Audiences weren't even sure the character could speak until he did. It's a simple gag, but it shows the film understood comic timing better than critics gave it credit for. Bonus: Method Man and Redman refused to do the sequel, so MTV made it without him. For nearly 2 decades, How High 2 was stuck in development hell. In 2008, Redman said they were still working on a script. We want to represent all the smokers, he explained. But Universal wouldn't open the money door. By 2017, both Method Man and Redman confirmed they were walking away. The business wasn't right. The deal didn't make sense. They weren't coming back. MTV greenlit the sequel anyway in 2018. They cast Lil Yachty and DC Young Fly in the lead roles. The
The film was set in Atlanta instead of Harvard. It premiered on MTV in April 2019.
It was trash. I ain't gonna lie. It was trash.
The only original
It
cast
was
member
garbage.
to return. Baby Powder lived on, even if Silas and Jamal didn't. The sequel exists, but for fans of the original, the real How High ended in 2001. Method Man and Redman knew when to walk away. The business wasn't right, and they weren't about to pretend otherwise. How High didn't just break the mold, it rolled it up and smoked it. It put 2 rappers in Harvard, dug up a president, and made Ben Franklin the godfather of getting lifted. No apologies, no filter, just 2 guys, a ghost, and enough weed to hotbox the Ivy League. So if you enjoyed getting behind the madness, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell us in the comments which fact made you pause, rewind, or call your homeboy. Because in a world of studio formulas and safe bets, only one film looked Hollywood in the eye and said, like that, smoke that, pass that.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Don't nobody care about no Rotten Tomatoes. Y'all critics are garbage. Like, nobody listens to the critics, bro. Nobody sit there and looks up a movie and be like, oh, it got 17% Rotten Tomatoes. I don't want to go see it. Nobody at all. Nobody ever in life. Probably, you know what? I ain't gonna say. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Y'all got now. Eat food, get money. Man, yeah. Catch y'all in the next one.